Hey everybody, Scout Crafty here on a beautiful fall day. We have a nice project today. I hope you enjoy it. Let's go to it. Okay, a couple months ago, I guess I was in a plier kick, and one of the viewers, a good guy named Brian P., I don't want to use his last name, but Brian from New Hampshire, said, you know, you're killing me with the pliers. And so he sent down these 4 tools for the channel. So he said, you know, maybe we can, you know, do something up. And you know, the tools are in really good shape, so Brian really takes care of his tools as far as rust and everything. The other thing is, there's a couple of them have like this clamp here has a slight bend to it. So I think subconsciously, I think Brian and the screwdriver has a little bit of a bend. And this, I'm not sure if it's a bend or not, but I think Brian has a thing for the dake too. So, but Brian really hooked this up, and I've been sitting on this for a while, and I've been wanting to figure out which one I want to do first. And I have a sister one for this, so I want to do that in a set. But I think today we're going to work on this one here, because I've been owing crowbar restorations. I know there's a couple guys out there who've been asking, and but let's get talking about this particular pry bar. Now, if you've never seen this type of pry bar or multi-tool, these things are fantastic, and they're drop forged steel, and you can use them for prying, you can use them for hammering, you can use them for dismantling. You know, they used to use a crate, you know, like a crate tool or whatever, but they're just a great tool. They're drop forged, so they're very difficult. You can see this one here was my grandfather's. This one here, you can see it says Nox Tox was the company, guaranteed forged steel. And you can see here, this one here is the Bridgeport manufacturing company, made in the USA. Very good brand. This one here I picked up along the line. This one's called the Hooker, and I'll tell you why in a minute. Again, made from Bridgeport manufacturing. They were big on making crate tools, and they call this a hooker because it's got that little hook device there, which I got to tell you is pretty dangerous when you're handling this and stuff, but you don't see too many of them around. But the one Brian sent is just the standard one, and I don't see any writing on it as of yet, because, you know, I see it looks like a little something there, right? Something Corp. Maybe Bridgeport, who knows? We're going to get working on this. Now, there's 2 things that we have to address here. First of all, there's one part of it here is dipped down. You see that? So somebody, you know, was prying on one side and not the other, so we're going to have to level these out. And this bar here, now a lot of times they came, you could see here, they were straight and they had one bend at the end. Straight, one bend at the end. This one here has like a compound bend. Now, I don't know if that's factory or if it was bent or something. You know, if we straighten this out to make one straight bend here, that's what we're going to have to see. So first of all, let's take it to the wire brush and do an evaluation after that. Okay, here we are at our post wire brush evaluation. You can see how nice this came out. And if you look really closely here, you can see that it is indeed a Nox Tox crate hammer. And again, this was from Bridgeport manufacturing company, and no writing on this side. Now, that is the same brand as that was my grandfather's. And you can see here that the font and everything is so different. And that's what I really enjoy about different generation tools. Like when you look at a tool like this, you say, okay, one of these is a different era than the other one. You know, it could be months, could be years, you never know. But a lot of times they'll produce a tool, and if they have a problem or something, they'll increase, or sometimes it goes the other way. Sometimes they have a great tool and they screw it up later on by making it thin or whatever. But let's go through some of the some of the differences here. First of all, you can see on the fork, you can see the fork here is more of a straight cut, and this one here is more of a widened cut. This one here is a stronger design, obviously, because you can see this one's bent, but this might have been, I think this is an earlier tool. Secondly, you could see that the thickness is, first of all, you can see the height here. This one's a thicker tool, and you can also see here on the width, it's a slightly thicker tool here. And the head size, you can see the difference. And also you could see just slight variations, which, you know, again, tool collectors, you know, we find that stuff pretty interesting. Now, with this one here, the bend of it, if you look here, all the other ones that I have or have seen, all are straight shafted with a bend, a kick up here, and including this Nox Tox, the early one or a later one, I don't know. But this one here has kind of a bow and then a bend. Now, normally I would take that over to the dake and straighten that out, but to be honest with you, you know, for what this tool is used for, that little bend is actually very helpful. This we're going to have to straighten out. This on the bottom we're going to have to straighten out. So let's go do that now, straighten this out, and then we'll get working on the tool. Okay, Great Grandpa's vise comes through once again. You can see, did that nice and straight, right? It's still warm, actually it's hot. I didn't make it, you know, I don't change any colors or anything. I just make it warm enough that mentally I'm not, the pucker factor goes down and I'm not so scared it's gonna snap. So I'm not making it red hot or anything. I'm just warming it up so that it you know, cold metal is always, you know, a problem. So if you don't want anything that feels cold, you just want it warm enough that you can't touch it. Now, let me show you something that's pretty interesting. You see that there? There's always been that little crack there. You see that? You can see it better on this side. You see that crack forming there? The reason that crack is forming is because when they made this, you know, they separate a little bit. They left it into a V, you know, and when you have a sharp point that a V comes to, that's a weakness, a weak point. And anytime you see you do any kind of machining or anything, anytime you have two pieces that come together, you'll make a U at the bottom. You see that U? You know, it's more like a curve at the bottom. Same with this other one here. That's why I believe that this one's an earlier generation, but that U is very important. Now, if I was to leave that like that, you could see that crack will travel. That, you know, this is a weak point and it will want to force itself this way. So normally anytime you have something like this, you drill a hole here so that you make like almost like a keyhole, you know, an upside down keyhole, and that will stop the cracking. It makes it much stronger. So I'm going to try and address that with a little small file and make that into a, you know, get rid of that crack so it don't go any further, and then we'll finish working on it. Okay, see that? How nice that came out? Swiss pattern file. We made the U at the bottom, so now that's going to be much stronger. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take it down and get rid of some of the, see the mushrooming that we have there at the tip and the mushrooming, and we're going to get that. But because this is forged and hard, rather than tear up a bunch of my belts, I'm going to first hit it with the 4-inch angle grinder, and then we'll take it over to the belt sander. Well, you know my favorite parts. Remember what it looked like before we started. Okay, we are calling this project done. Can you tell which one we did? Yes, you're right. If you picked out this one, and this came out real nice, didn't it? I mean, this is just the way it should feel. I mean, when that's in your hand like that and you're feeling it, I feel bad because, in all honesty, my grandfather's has a lip on here. You see that? From, you know, banging it, and that really makes it not very pleasurable to hold on to, but maybe I'll address that later on. But this came out real nice, and you can see here the way we did the U on the bottom there, to the way that's split, you know, that's a problem that won't happen now. Let me show you how this works and talk a little bit about the Bridgeport hardware manufacturing company, and let's get to 1895 Bridgeport Hardware Manufacturing Corporation's formed, and they make a whole bunch of tools. They make screwdrivers and things like that, and obviously in Bridgeport, Connecticut, and not to be confused with the Bridgeport Machinery Corporation that was formed in 1938 that built the Bridgeport Mill and other machines you know of. But this Bridgeport Hardware Manufacturing Corporation, they had a logo that looked like this. Had a B with an H and an M in the middle, and you could see it on a lot of their tools. They were most known today for a lot of their crate tools. Crate tools have become highly collectible, and I can see why, because they're pretty interesting. You know, they have a little axe and a hammer built in. This one here is another Bridgeport tool, and you can see here, there is their logo in there. You can see the B, the H, and the M. That's their trademark. And this one here, it has the hammer, and unfortunately 99% of all the population will never have the joy of opening up a crate. And I've only done maybe a half a dozen in my life, and I could tell you I remember each one of them. Opening a crate is a great joy, but there's not many things that come in crates today. And that's why these crate tools, you don't see them too much anymore. But basically, they all had things that's similar. They had a little hammer and a pry bar, and sometimes they look like a miniature crowbar, basically. And that's what, obviously, the one we were doing today is. And one thing to remember is with opening a crate, you know, they came in boxes. They were nailed together quickly to protect the item, and that's what these were meant to open up. Okay, unfortunately, like I said, most of us won't have the opportunity to open crates and stuff, but I have a simulated crate top here to show you how you would use a tool like this. And, you know, you would find that where the nails are in the crate, and you would take, now I'm using a soft blow hammer because after all this work, this will never see another steel hammer banging on it again. I'm using an old Chicago rawhide hammer, a vintage one. But anyway, you place it here between the seam, and you give it a couple quick taps, and that'll raise it up a little bit. Once you have it raised up, you could see where the nails are, and you would place this, the fork on each side of the nail like this, and that's how you would pry it up like that to get the crate up. And if you do it correctly, and you know, you raise it up the right way, a lot of times the top of the crate will come out with the nails like this. Then you had one or two choices. You could bang out the nails and save the wood, which a lot of frugal people like my family would do. Or you could, if you had to recrate it, and after you were finished, you could line up the nails again and use this side to bang down the top of the crate and send it back, or whatever you had to do. So it is a great tool, and it really does work well. So in closing, we have our Nox Tox, manufactured by the Bridgeport Hardware Manufacturing Company, and this tool came out really nice. I want to thank Brian again from New Hampshire for sending it into the show, and really appreciate it. We'll get to those other tools again soon, and I hope you enjoyed this one. If you can pick one of these up, you will really like it. They're well made, and there's tons of them out there. Thanks so much for tuning in. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.